Well, good morning from inside Spirit's new cabin top. Give you a little bit of an idea of what it's going to be like inside here. A lot bigger windows, a lot more of them, a lot wider and a little bit higher. Really cool. Really cool. Alright, so we have spent the last week working on the cabin top. But before I go into detail, welcome everyone to our channel, or Spirit's channel. This is just a sailing channel with my amazing Italian wife and I, where we sort of share our simple, well at the moment not so simple, but what we aim to do is live a pretty simple life on a boat on the water. And we really make these videos so that when we're older we can remember everything that we've done, give ourselves a nice little reminder of how lucky we've been. And to try and inspire people to maybe live a simple life on the water as well. And I think one of my main inspirations for sharing and making these videos is to show people that you don't need the latest and greatest boat. I really like to show people that you can buy an older boat, a boat that's not made out of the most amazing exotic materials like carbon fibre, a boat that isn't designed last year and that isn't brand new. I just want to show people that you can have an older boat like that and you can do it up yourself if you have the time and the skill, and you can give it a new life. And with that boat you can do really cool and amazing things. And it doesn't have to be a big trimaran, it can be a little monohull, it can be a catamaran, it can be a little trimaran. But you can do it. You know, you can find an older boat as long as the structure and the bones are really good. You can find an older boat, you can put a few years of effort into doing it up, and then you can travel the world if you want. It's really amazing. Sailing is, you know, it really is a gift of freedom. And I suppose I would really like the channel to sort of inspire people or to show people that life. But anyway, let's get to it. Let's talk about what we've been up to on Spirit for the last week. For anyone that's new to the channel, we bought Spirit in September, October 2023 in Costa Rica. And my wife Claudia and I spent the first 5-6 months doing her up. And then we sailed her back across the Pacific to Australia, where we are now. And where we're in a big shed doing a bit of a refit on her and giving her a new life. Yeah, if you're interested, please go back. I think it's about 8 or 9 videos now, and start at the beginning of the refit, and then you'll see where we're up to today. But yeah, welcome to the channel everyone, and thank you everyone that writes in the comments section. I really love it. And I love hearing from everyone and love everyone's thoughts and ideas. It's really cool. Okay, so the last week we've been working on the hardtop here. It was under the boat here, flipped up the other way. And we've been working on fairing. So the first thing we did, or in the video last week, what we were doing was we just filled in the decoring around the windows that we'd done. After all of that's done, comes the time to fair it. And you can see we've sprayed on some primer, high build, And we've got one more sand to do, and then it'll be pretty much ready for a top coat, which will be a low sheen. And so the inside's pretty much ready to go, and now we're doing the outside. So yesterday it got its first screed of fairing compound on the outside. And so then that'll all be sanded off today. And then it'll probably get another couple of screeds or wipes, really thin wipe of fairing compound. And then once we get it fairly fair, we'll then roll on some thick coats of high build to try and get rid of all the pinholes and any little spots. And then this will be glossed. First we'll do the white surround, and then there'll be a black band going around the windows, and then there'll be a non-skid up on top. Or also, you can see I've put these little bits of PVC piping on the roof, conduit. And this was just to give you an example of what we're doing up here. So there will be a hard top. Obviously, when I'm in the cockpit, I'm standing at about this height. I can just see over the roof. And then above us, there's a hard top. Between that hard top and the roof, there's a clear cover that comes down that provides protection from the wind and the rain when you're in the cockpit. But you need to attach that cover to the cabin top. So the question is, how do you do it? And there's a multitude of ways. And you can use conduit. So what you do, I'll come up the other end here, is you sand up the conduit, give it a nice rough surface. Then you, with a hot glue gun, you glue it down, and then you cove either side of it, and then you run fiberglass over it, and then you cut a slot in it. And then you end up with what we call like a bolt rope track, which is something like this. So that's a way that you can make your own bolt rope track out of conduit. And you can use different sizes, or you can use bolt rope track itself. You can just glue that down, fiberglass over it, and then cut a slot in it. So anyway, that's another job that we'll be doing. And we'll be doing it before we spray it. There's not a lot of load on it, and it's not structural, so you can bond it to the fairing. It doesn't have to be bonded to the fiberglass. So we'll do that once it's fair. It'll have a nice curved shape. It'll probably come up near the back of the hatches there. It'll be nice, have a good angle on it. And then it'll come down the side of the windows here, around the back. And we'll run conduit down the side as well. That gives it a really good seal. It'll create a really a nice protected environment in the cockpit, which is behind the cabin. But yeah, really, really stoked. Just really stoked to see this moving along now. It's happening really quick. And I'd say within another week, 10 days, 2 weeks, that'll be ready to go upstairs. The cabin top will be hopefully just about ready to go on, be bonded on. And when we do that, we'll lift it up with a crane, and then we will glue this flange down onto the deck, and then we will bond it with glass tapes. You can see where we've put yellow tape along the side here. We'll peel that off, and then that gives us a surface to bond to the deck. And then we'll bond on the underside as well with a couple of layers of the biax tape. All right, we picked up this week as well. These are the new nylon. It's virtually like a wear cheek for either side of the rudder. So this is the old ones here that we used. that we used as a template. They used to be on the side of the rudder box, and they just work like a wear plate. And then we got a couple made as well for the centerboard. These round ones will go on the centerboard and act like a wear plate as well, because it was a little tiny bit of movement in the centerboard. I could hear it. If I had the centerboard down and we were anchored somewhere where the boat was rolling a little bit or trying to flap from side to side, you would hear the board go boom, 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 and I could move it a little bit when I was diving under the boat. So yeah, that'll go around the side, and it just works as like a wear plate. And then the other one goes here on the side of the rudder box. So we got those made up, and we got it made up from a place here on the Gold Coast called All Star Plastics. And they'll do the windows as well. Really nice guys. Really happy about having that cabin top done. As you can see, we've cut out the old bulkhead. We made pretty quick work of that. And I said in the last video how it's beaten up. You can see it's got a hole in here. This is where the jammers were. So I imagine the boat at some stage has hit the bottom, because this is where the jammers are located to hold the board down. So if you hit the bottom, I imagine that if you hit it with any force, you'll rip the jammer out, and it looks like that's what's happened. So yeah, we'll replace it. It's something that we've learnt is that, the more you can prepare downstairs on a table, the better and the quicker. Work on it on the bench, and then when it's just about finished, then put it up on the boat. You can see I just used the old one as a template. I had to glass and glue a couple of strips on either side, because the width of the bulkhead was greater than the size of a panel. So we did that. This is surfboard cloth, 110 gram. So 220 grams in the middle where it overlaps, and that's on each side. And then we've run around the edge, this top edge here, we've run some biax as well, 600 gram biax on both sides. That just stiffens up the top. And then we've decored it, which was really fantastic, because Danny, who's giving us a hand at the moment, lent us his router, which has got the perfect 20mm bit in it, which creates beautiful decoring. So yeah, we did that. Chloe and I ran the router around the door, and if you do a really nice jigsaw cut, you end up with really straight edges, and not a lot of work has to be put into it. So we ran the router around the window, around the door frame, and this bulk needs to be faired or do a little bit of work. We've just got to take it upstairs and just cut out a few little bits so it fits perfectly. It just about fits perfectly at the moment. And so now what we'll do is we'll stick it on the table. We'll tape around the edge here so we know where not to fair, because glass tape will come down here. We'll cove this corner and tape it to the back edge of the cabin top, which is over there. The cabin top extends past a little bit. We'll cove it, and then we'll glass. So we'll bond it to the cabin top on both sides, which will be a lot stronger, because the old one wasn't. It was all just coved and glued. So this will definitely be a lot stronger, this bulkhead. And you can see it's a lot stiffer. Like, it's still thin and they still wobble around a bit, but it's definitely a lot stiffer than the old plywood one. And the other thing is, this is 16 kilos. I weighed it the other day. We've got some luggage scales, so I weighed this. This came up at 16 kilos, and this one came up at 8.6. So we're halving the weight, and we're getting a much nicer bulkhead. Also extended the window out a little bit. That's about an extra 10 centimetres wider, because the bulkhead is wider than the old one. You've got to remember, we've extended the cabin top 200 and 200 here, so that allowed us to push that window out a little bit. And obviously the door is a little bit wider as well. So yeah, really happy with the way the bulkhead came up. And we're probably going to put, the bulkhead's around the wrong way at the moment. The door is normally on starboard, so we're on the inside of the boat at the moment. But anyway, also there will be a box of electronics, which will probably get put on the bulkhead here somewhere. Eventually, I've spoken about it in some of the other videos. I've spoken about how we're going to get rid of the helm, the wheel helm that we have upstairs. And when we do that, we won't have a pedestal. So the electrics will need to go somewhere, or the electronics will need to go somewhere. So my plan is to put them on the back of the bulkhead here. We'll have the wind instruments, plotter, and then the engine control panel in front as well. So that when you're helming the boat, everything's in front, and you can sit anywhere in the cockpit and you'll be able to see the instruments. Whereas at the moment, you need to be behind the pedestal to see the instruments. So yeah, it'll be like this. And I'm not sure about how high, but they'll have a couple of USBs on them as well. Probably in each side, a USB on each side. And then it'll probably set up around here so that you can sit your cup of coffee or your water on top, or your mobile phone or iPad can sit up here, and or your binoculars or whatever. But yeah, I think that'll work really well. Unfortunately, it'll stick out a little bit. I don't want to cut holes in the bulkhead and put instruments in through the bulkhead. Obviously it weakens the bulkhead, but at the same time, if you ever want to change the layout of the instruments, you're stuck with it. You've got to replace your bulkhead. So that's why for me, making a box, even though it sticks out a little bit, will work fine, because underneath that box down here will be two jammers and the up and down lines for the board. So underneath that box will be a couple of lines coiled up that just live there all the time. So I think it'll work really well. Anyway, it's something that's sort of in progress and will evolve as we move along. Yeah, I picked up before a couple of these little knees. I'll take you up top to show you what these are for. But yeah, we're really stoked because everything's moving along pretty well. We've had a really good week last week. These, you can see I've drawn a heap of black lines around. It's pretty untidy, but I've got a lot of grinding and prep to do up here. You can see we've ground back, ready for bonding, where the new cabin top will sit here on this lip, and then it will be glassed onto the deck here. So we've prepared this bonding surface on top, but we haven't prepared underneath. So I will need to grind all along underneath. And at the same time, you see these cracks down here. Okay, this is because these are just a little thin plywood knee that they've put in the corner to support the deck. And so we will grind these back, and there's no fiberglass between this and the hull, the bonding between the two. There's no fiberglass. It's just this little cove in here, in the corner here. That's all there is that bit of glue. So you can understand, as soon as this cabin top started to get water in the balsa and get weaker, it started to put more load on the deck, which then transferred the load more to these knees. And then you can see they've started to crack. So as that cabin top got weaker, the deck started to flex, because the deck strength is not vertical. It's more horizontal, the stiffness of the deck, because its width is greater than its height. So you start getting this lifting, which then stresses these knees and cracks them. So anyway, we'll grind all of that right out and grind it right back, and then we'll do a much bigger cove, and then we'll glass it as well. Give it some really good strength and bonding. And the same down here. So we've got to grind all that out, cove it, glass it. So a fair bit of grinding up here, and you can see the other side here, see that crack down there. So that cabin top, that damaged cabin top, and this is what I say in a lot of the videos, is you've got to fix things. As soon as you see something wrong with the boat, you've got to fix it, because it will always lead to something else. So drilling the windows and bolting the windows onto the cabin top eventually led to water getting into the balsa, which led to the balsa losing its strength, which then led to the deck and these knees being loaded more than they were designed to be, which then led to them cracking. And if we didn't fix it, it would just keep going and going and going, and you end up with bigger and bigger problems. So we've marked out where our single point sheeting will be. It'll be right here. You can see we've put the thermolite in the board, the black board there. We've removed that balsa core, which you would have seen in our past videos. And we've put in this black thermolite board. Really, really strong and really stiff. And then we've put a layer of triax with a weft running along it on top. And that's really stiffened it up. And when we did it, we put blocks of wood underneath, and we put clamps on here, and we used ATL glue. We used an epoxy glue, and made up, really layered it in there nice and thick, layered it on the thermolite nice and thick, drilled a heap of holes in the thermolite, and then clamped it down, and made sure that we had glue ooze out all around the edges and all up through the holes. And that was so that we could make sure there was no air in there, and make sure that the bonding between them was really good. And then the next day we came along, removed the clamps, and then we glassed the top. So we did it in sort of a two-step process. Now I just need to go along with the grinder and just trim that fiberglass edge off, and then that's ready to go. We need to, with a hole saw, cut our hole here for our Harken gizmo, which is our soft loop that will come up here. And then either side of that, we will glue in one of these little knees as well. So there'll be a knee there to support the back edge, and then there'll be, I think, another little knee just here to support the forward edge. So they'll sit in there, something like that. Oh, I can get them to sit. Yeah, like that, either side of the sheeting point. So the sheeting point will be here, and just to give that extra strength. So all of that will be bonded in, and then the same will happen over here on the port side. There's already this on the aft side, the sheeting point's here, and then that one there. That one there will go in just on the forward edge of it to support that. And then the same, you can see the cracks here. Grind all that back. But yeah, pretty happy to be up to that step. You can see no bulkhead, so that's pretty wild. Pretty cool. Would be a really fun project just to turn this into a great big open day sailing boat for around the Whitsundays or somewhere. It'd be super cool. Yeah, it'd be awesome. Anyway, we got all the thermolite in, which was a big step. Here we've done a couple of layers of triax over the top. And it's looking really good. Really, really happy with these areas. They're like concrete, and they need to be. This is where all the banker jammers will be, so there's going to be quite a lot of load there and on both sides. So that's why we did such a big decor, and was to make sure that area was really solid. And again, on this one, on the underside of this, we put a lot of glue down there, make sure that we filled any voids, and then the same, we clamped everything together, made sure that the glue came out all around the edges and all through the holes that we had drilled in the thermalite, and just to make sure that that is really solid. You don't want any air voids in there. You want to make sure that you've got contact between all the surfaces. And then the same here, and in this one, the unis that were underneath, and again, I think I put this in the last video, they were cracked through the middle, so there wasn't a lot of strength in them. So we ran a new uni up underneath before we put the thermalite on here. Same here, another little patch. I need to decore here where the organisers are going to go, but I'm going to leave that to the last minute because I'm not exactly sure where we're going to have these organisers. Also drilled out, this is the staysail. This is where the sheeting point for the staysail is. So we took that out and put thermalite in there as well. This was another little, this was just a crack in the deck. And I wanted to just make sure that, there was a crack running fore and aft in the deck. So we ground it back. There's been a few of them, and we've ground them all back just to make sure that what's going on underneath the balsa is okay. And it was. I ground it back, and I just put a couple of layers of glass over it. We didn't need to, but we did. And then the same here, there was a crack here, and there was a tiny little bit of soft balsa there, but it hadn't gone anywhere. So I cut out a larger section and just put a bit of thermalite in there. And then the same here as well. There was another small little crack in the deck, and just ground it out. No worries. There was, the balsa was all fine underneath, but just to check, like this whole process, the whole reason we're doing this is to make sure that our boat is solid. So you've got to investigate anything like this. Any little cracks that you see in the deck or the paint, grind them back to the fiberglass, and if you see that they go through the glass, grind through to the balsa and just check the state of the balsa underneath. And then we did the new windlass base. This is where the anchor winch will go. You can see the holes in the thermalite there. There's no peel play over this because I hot coated it. This is the ATL adhesive glue, epoxy glue underneath the thermalite. It's like a thick honey. And then I put this is 3 layers of biax over the top. I did 2 running one way and 1 running the other. And just to give the anchor winch a really good base. And then we'll cut a hole in here for the motor, and then another hole forward here for the chain. So the chain comes down around the gypsy and then down into the anchor locker. And so, really stoked with that. There's no peel play on this because it was gassing off a little bit. I did it hot on hot. I put the glass over the top of the glue, and the peel ply was just, when it was gassing off, the peel ply was bubbling up a bit, so I just pulled it off. We'll just grind that back. There's only fairing compound to go over this now, and I'll make a nice fiberglass plate for the windlass to sit on top of. So that one's done as well. Really happy with that. My father's been working on the hatches. He's got the hatches, and you can see these slots in the back edge here. He's made a jig to cut out the slots in the hatches, and also the holes for the hatch dogs or latches. And he's been working on the engine. He's been still cleaning the engine up. Slow process. He's been doing it with a little wire brush and washing it with kerosene, and he's doing a wonderful job. So very lucky to have him working on the hatches and the engine for us. But you can see everything's moving along really well. Chloe has been sanding and sanding and sanding, and she's pretty much 90% done with this starboard float. She's got a little bit up forward to do, and a bit on the beams to do, but really cracking along and getting there, which is awesome. We also vacuum bagged some solid fiberglass layers to go over here as a hatch. So it's quite thick and solid fiberglass. It's a real overkill, but we know that this is going to be really strong. And that's the main thing, make everything super strong. I'll just take you down the engine room and show you what we did down there. The other day I came down here, we haven't painted down here yet, we're just letting it have a really good dry out. But yeah, I also glued this, this is the little turning blocks. So down here come the two lines for the board, the up and down line, one on each side. And then they go through the little turning block here and out and then down and along the top of the centerboard case. So this is the deck height in the main cabin opposite us. And this is where you step down into the main cabin and you go forward. So, yeah, I had to glass and glue this back on the other day. You have to get that out and to get those turning blocks out, you've actually got to cut this off. So we did that the other day, or we did that a few weeks ago now. Replace the blocks and then I've run some mousing lines. So yeah, pretty happy with that. It's all nice and solid and just needs to be painted. I'll get down in here and we'll do a little bit of painting over the coming weeks. But it's you just rip the peel ply off. But yeah, this will look really good when it's painted up. Super excited about that. Really nice to have a clean and tidy engine room. You can imagine when it's all white, it's going to look great. And we managed to pick up from Watson's our reconditioned helm or steering blocks. This is for the steering cables. They've done a really nice job. Super impressed. This is Watson's. They're here on the Gold Coast, and yeah, they're very, very good. Yeah, tidied all these up. One of these wasn't even turning. I think it's the other one in the bag here. This one was seized. Yeah, this one was seized and wasn't turning. But have a look at that. They've replaced they've done new little bearings inside the sheaves and replaced the stainless shafts. So I'll be able to lubricate that now. I'll be able to pull those shafts out every year or so and give them some good lubrication and keep everything in working order. So yeah, that's really good. Very happy about that, because replacing these from the US was thousands of dollars and they don't even make them anymore. So really nice. They gave them an acid bath and then cleaned them all up for us. So that's really cool. And yeah, over the next few weeks, we'll finish painting up the back there and then we'll stick them back on and slowly we'll progress to put everything back together. But yeah, you can see she's coming back together now, slowly but surely. Like they say, all good things take time. But yeah, really happy we got that bulkhead done. Really progressing well with the cabin top. Yeah, super stoked with the cabin top. And you can see these are the lines hanging out here for the board up and down lines. That's the mousing that I've run through there. So yeah, that's our update from this week, everyone. You can see things are moving along pretty well. And this week we'll hopefully get the outside fairing of that done. And get it closer and closer to going on top. We'll start fairing this bulkhead. And we'll get the bulkhead glued and glassed in. and then the cabin top up on top, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll. We've got the hard top just sitting there off to starboard, and the main reason is I don't want to work on it anymore. It's not a showstopper. I want to get this bulkhead and that new cabin top up there. Then I'd like to put the hard top up just to see how it looks with the new cabin top. And then the boys will probably take that and fair it and finish it while we put the boat back together and get ready to get out of here. So I'd say we've still got another couple of months. We've been in here 2 months now. So I'd say 2 more months. And then hopefully we should be looking at going in the water by the end of June. Awesome. We've got a mate repairing his little camper here. He's got a little bit of a soft spot in the old camper, so he's come in to give her a little repair over Easter. But anyway, that's our little update this week, everyone. Again, really, really appreciate all your comments. Thanks a lot for all the encouraging words, all the kind words. It really gives us a boost at the end of every week to upload a video and to hear everyone's positive thoughts on everything. All your encouragement is really appreciated, so thank you very much. We'll keep updating and we'll keep cracking on with the work, and hopefully in a couple of months we'll be doing a video of this old girl going back in the water. Yeah, check out that cabin top. All the best, everyone. All the best from Chloe and I. Have a great weekend. Cheers for now.